What's popular YouTube? Another day, another demo. I am back from Poland and I wanted to do a quick prediction video so we could go over the bracket for Kato. Okay, 2022 sucks. But what if you could make $2,000.22? Sellyourskins.com. It's all in the title. You sell your skins to cash out of those lovely works of art in your inventory with some of the lowest fees on the market, so you can finally put a dent in those pesky student loans. It's super easy with a variety of payment methods, including cash, crypto, credit card, etc. And if you use my code LAO, you get a welcome bonus. Thank you, Sell Your Skins, for sponsoring this video and making my content possible. Link in the description below. Back to the video. So I actually was supposed to be there in the stadium to do. There's like some stuff that got messed up, and me and Scrawny got asked to go. But I actually got pre-booked to, ironically, do a post show for Katowice in LA this week. So tomorrow I'm leaving to go to LA for the week, and then I'm gonna do a post show for Kato while I'm there. It'll be on G4, so you can tune in and watch it. And for the playoffs themselves, I'll obviously be watching everything. Scrawny will be casting a game here. I won't spoil anything. Yeah, so this video is just going to go over bracket predictions, what I think will happen based on what we saw in the group stage. So to quickly go over it, I think first we got to point out Heroic had the strongest start to the group stage. They played well pretty much the entire way through. Vitality were disappointing. Thought they were going to do better, but Heroic creamed them, and I think that's really important to highlight because I think coming into the event, Vitality actually looked quite prepared. Virtus Pro looked a bit shaky versus Heroic. 2 bad starts, lost both maps. Not feeling super bullish on them, I guess I should say. Gambit were another team of interest here because they played badly up until the point that they, this last map versus Copenhagen Flames, then they looked insane versus Vitality, and then they looked insane versus NIP. So really looking forward to Gambit moving forward in the playoffs. Na'Vi, once again, weird form, but didn't lose. That's kind of the story with Na'Vi. FaZe Clan, they scraped by. They did well. It was always scrappy as it is with FaZe. I think we saw some good stuff. Multiple people carrying between Brokey, Kerrigan, Twists. Or sorry, not Kerrigan. Kerrigan in this last series obviously did not play this way. I casted this one. This was very unfortunate. The last map at 9 and 29, everyone kept talking about that. But to be honest, this series overall was very good from FaZe, and I think they could have obviously closed it. They had it 15-10 on Barrage, so they could have closed it there. We didn't see that outcome. Weird things, Nafny had an interview here where he just said, it's clear that not everybody is on form. And he was one of the teams that was also not on form, but they got better. And with them getting better was also Nafany was getting a lot better, finding his opening frags and everything like that. Okay, playoff predictions. Into the quarterfinals, between Gambit and FaZe, I will take Gambit in this match. FaZe had a chance to get the semis. If they beat Na'Vi, they would have been placed in semis. I actually don't think it would have changed their odds of winning this game, of winning, getting to finals. Maybe it would have a little bit, but I think Gambit were really good overall. Now, I will say that FaZe, especially at Cologne, when it came to the LAN, were able to beat Gambit, and that was an unbelievable result because this was the first LAN back, and Gambit were winning everything. So there is going to be a buff for FaZe in front of the crowd, 100%. I just think that this is Gambit's breakout year. I know last year was Gambit's breakout year, but I think on LAN, I'm going to give Gambit the benefit of the doubt until I see otherwise now because they're still too sick. They're one of the 2 teams between them and Heroic that didn't make a roster change last year, and they looked very, very good on the group stage, which is also LAN. So I am going to say Gambit will take this one. I think FaZe, while they look very promising, and they sometimes call, like Kerrigan sometimes calls great rounds and great games, he also sometimes doesn't. Okay, and I think it's a mixed bag with him, whether it's inconsistency among players or the calling. I think he's an amazing caller. I don't think he's a super perfect, consistent caller, though. Some rounds they call they're too scrimmy. I think they lose games because of it. But then they also save and win. He'll orchestrate one of the most magnificent, cohesive, lubricated rounds of Counter-Strike that you've ever seen in a match. And you're like, this guy's the GOAT caller. And then the next round they rush and get smoked. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give Gambit this one, but this is actually very close for me. A LAN buff versus really good form should win on paper. So that brings us to the semifinal, which would be Gambit versus Heroic. And I will say Heroic will actually win this game. These two always play close. They have a long history versus each other, a lot of confidence versus each other. And I think that right now, Heroic are the best team coming out of the group stage. Does that mean that LAN, when they get in front of a crowd, all that will change? 100% it could. Last year, Stown was pretty much their only good player on LAN. Everybody else fell off dramatically. That's huge. But again, another team who they're a good team, and I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt until they prove otherwise or show otherwise coming into 2022. And then they're going up against Gambit, who have their own questions. So I will say Gambit will win this close game versus FaZe and then lose to Heroic, who had a very, very strong opening group stage where they are definitely the best team, I'd say, in the group stage. So that means Heroic will get to finals. And my bracket, over on the other side, this is kind of an interesting one because this is the first huge playoff stadium for the G2 to play with. You know, most teams did not play in a big LAN last year. And now we got Monacy on G2. They were good and bad. I would say Virtus Pro were also good and bad in the group stage. But the one difference is that specifically in this Heroic match, they were just getting one bulleted at every single turn. And this, to me, highlighted exactly how good Heroic were. I didn't think that they would even win this game. I thought Virtus Pro were going to pull this off. So this was crazy. I mean, it looked like there was such a gap between these two teams. 15 rounds over 2 maps for Virtus Pro in this match. Personally, I think that's how good Heroic looked. I think, yes, Virtus Pro made some mistakes and everything, but I really think it came down more to how good Virtus Pro looked or how good Heroic looked. For G2, they made it. It looked a little sketchy. We had to go to 3 maps to Furia and Astralis. I don't know if I can confidently say G2 will win this, but I will say G2 are another roster that can get tremendously better on LAN, right? And Virtus Pro won't be a question mark in that from that perspective as well. So that's a tough one. There's a lot of LAN teams here right now. So I will say this is a very, very hard game to call. I don't feel insanely good about it one way or the other. And I think Na'Vi beats both of them. I will take G2 to get through. I actually will take G2 to get through. I don't think if Virtus Pro showed me Heroic form, then I would take Virtus Pro. But still some questions about Virtus Pro for me. A lot of questions for G2 as well. But Nico, 1.50 rating across the group stage. They've got enough star power right now. I feel like it could balance out. I mean, this would be the best team they beat, I would say. I don't feel insanely confident about this pick, but we'll move forward. I think Na'Vi beat them. I think Na'Vi beat either of these two teams, and that means we have a Heroic Na'Vi final. And I will say, I'll just pick, I think Na'Vi will beat Heroic in the final. I think Heroic, the maximum amount of pressure here in the grand final. Again, we talk about LAN ratings with everybody basically except for Stown, and they fall off a cliff. So yes, this LAN might be different, but I think the pressure, Na'Vi's, LAN aura, their results, I think they're going to be great on final Sunday. So I think Na'Vi will win it. So again, to go through this, I believe this would be a close game between Gambit and FaZe, but I'll give it to Gambit and Heroic to beat them to make it to the final. On the other side of things, G2 to get through, though I'm not very confident in this prediction. Na'Vi to beat either team, that I'm more confident about. And then Na'Vi to beat Heroic in the grand final. So that's what I got. This is going to be a big one. It's going to be a banger. There's lots of good games to watch. So that's it. We got some crazy CS coming up, and it's going to start with Kato. This is one of the flagship events of the year. It's going to be a huge showcase for everybody involved. We're going to at least get some more context, so I don't have to keep talking about Cologne and the Major for Gambit, or the same thing for Heroic, right? If they play well in this playoffs, their reputation for being online in any sense will be washed away. Of course, it would just add on to another, playoff bracket performance or run for both Heroic and Gambit on LAN, as they did in the Major as well. But there are still some questions with them, and I think if we're being reasonable, there are still some questions for them. The stats don't lie. Yeah, congrats to Na'Vi for winning Katowice. And if Heroic were not in this form coming out of the group stage, I think this would be a Gambit Na'Vi final. But for now, I'm gonna say a Heroic Na'Vi final. I don't know. Did that catch you off guard? Do you see it the same way? Let me know what you think. Sorry for not uploading for like 5, 6, 7 days. I will upload some more, and I've got some more ideas for content that I want to do, but I thought this would be a cool one to just launch out there, and I'll include timestamps so that you can kind of skip to the predictions themselves. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that. As always, be safe.